Welcome to Rusty and Binge Face, where two friends binge watch seasons of TV shows and we talk about it. I'm Adam McCoy.
And I'm Amanda Kathleen. Adam and I work in TV. We watch a lot of TV. If we were a comedian duo team, our jokes would mainly consist of TV jokes. Us talking about TV.
And there's a lot of them.
Mainly the podcast.
Yeah.
Today, we are binging The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Season 1.
Yes, from Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime, which is our first Amazon show.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Step it up, Amazon.
So, leading into Adam dropping some knowledge on us. I dropped a little knowledge.
About
Amazon.
Amazon. That's Rusty and Binge Face knowledge. This show was created for Amazon. It's actually created by Amy Sherman Palladino, who you may know is the creator of Gilmore Girls.
Oh.
Yes.
Never seen it.
So she's the creator of that, and she did. She's done a lot of things, but that's her number
her
one.
baby.
Yeah. It's interesting. She was at a pitch meeting with Amazon. They were just talking about ideas,
Right.
I guess. And so she kind of always had this idea in the back of her head because her dad, Don Sherman, was a stand-up comedian.
Oh.
So she grew up in a house, as she puts it, full of a bunch of Jews sitting around trying to make each other laugh. And she actually knew Lenny Bruce's mother.
Oh, really?
Who's a real-life comedian. But she knew his mother because she was kind of like this house mother for all these comedians when she was growing up. So some things that she's known for in her writing style, she kind of has this rapid dialogue.
Yeah, I mean, I've never watched Gilmore Girls, but every time I see a clip, it's always like the mom and the daughter just speaking rapidly at each other.
Rapidly. Which I think worked for this one. It kind of reminds me of like those 1950s movies. And also she had some longer there were some longer shots
there's a lot of
long takes.
Long take shots.
But in order to prepare for this rapid dialogue, how do you pronounce her name?
Rachel
Brosnahan. Rachel Brosnahan said she would guzzle down a bunch of coffee before she had to give these rapid fire dialogue.
I mean, it looks like she's hyped up on caffeine.
And Amy says it's not really, this is not based on a real life person. Some people thought it was, including my wife. She thought it was. But Joan Rivers is kind of a pretty close facsimile. A lot of inspiration came from Joan Rivers, as far as well as other comedians. But the most well known would be Joan Rivers, is the one.
Well, and she's also around that time, right?
Yeah, she was around that time. All right, so the show premiered on March 17th in 2017 to much critical acclaim.
Oh boy,
everybody loved the show.
So I hear.
And lots and lots and lots of awards for the first season.
Right.
The list is huge, so I'm not going to read them all. But Golden Globes, the Golden Globes, they won every category they were nominated for except for one, which is Best Supporting Actress, Alex Borstein. She didn't get the Golden Globe.
Burn! Why didn't she get that?
It's all right, though, because she got an Emmy.
Oh, okay. I was like, she's the best part of that whole show.
Yeah.
So she needs all the awards.
So it won Best Comedy Series, an Emmy for that. It won Golden Globe Best Series. Alex won an Emmy for Best Supporting Actress.
Right.
And Rachel won Best Lead Actress in a Comedy Series. And just a slew of others.
Right.
So, but those two are the leads.
Right.
Really, so they won. Tony Shalhoub was nominated.
Oof.
Did not win for Best Supporting, but
he's also very good. He needs to win an award.
He does. So yeah, lots of awards picked up for a second season, and then it's already been picked up for a third season.
Right, second season's already out.
Second season's already out.
I think it came out earlier this year or later.
Earlier this year. So all around, apparently a great show, which brings us to us binging it.
Right.
And you'll see what we think.
Right. Well, it is part of our Women's Month, where women-led TV shows.
Yes.
I think this is probably a predominant one in the list because obviously it's about a woman overcoming.
Yes.
Male.
Created by a woman.
Predominantly comedian, yeah.
Although she does work with her husband, Amy. Her husband is her creative partner. I guess they do all the shows that they work on together. Don't want to leave anybody out.
No.
But it's really her show.
It's really, yeah.
It's, her dad was the comedian.
Right.
So she got the inspiration for it. So, yeah. Let's talk about the show.
All right, Adam's done dropping knowledge. you are fully knowledge drop. We're going to talk about the show. If you haven't seen the first season, you should definitely watch the first season. You can listen to us talk about it. That's fine. I don't care. You do you. YOLO.
You can just save time and just listen to us talk about all the shows.
That's fine. We'll do a brief overview.
And then when you're having conversation at work, you'll be like, yeah, I've seen that show.
Yeah, of course I
blah,
have.
blah, 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 blah,
blah, blah, blah.
They're like, how do you have time to watch so much TV? You know.
I'm extraordinary.
Constantly watching it.
Constantly watching it. I have so much time in my hands. So this is your spoiler warning in 3, 2, and the show. Overview of Mrs. Maisel.
Season 1.
Season 1.
So the show starts out in 1958.
Yes.
Miriam Midge Maisel. She's a young mother, married mother, living in the Upper West Side.
Like 26?
Yeah, she's 26, I believe, what they say in the show. So her husband is trying to be a comedian. Joel. Trying to be a comedian, and she's doing the housewife thing. And
she's supporting him.
She's supporting him. She makes a nice brisket so he can get a time slot.
A better time slot
At the Gaslight Comedy Club. So it's about her trying to support him. He goes and performs. He's not hilarious.
He's okay. He gets some laughs.
But then it turns out, she finds out later, he's just ripping off Bob Newhart. Ugh. She's like, what? You didn't write this stuff?
It devastated her.
Yeah, she's crushed. And so then he gets up there the next time.
He tries an original joke, which is not funny.
And it's not funny. And she suggested an idea of doing a joke.
Right.
And as soon as it didn't do well, it's all her fault, not his.
Of course.
And then he couldn't even rip off Bob Newhart anymore. The set was horrible. So he's like, screw comedy. And speaking of screwing, I'm having an affair with my secretary. And
I'm going to leave you.
I'm going to leave you. So he's cheating on
his wife with his secretary and is now leaving his wife with her suitcase. It's like, he needs to start over. He hates his job. He can't do this anymore.
He's like going through
It's an early midlife crisis.
It's a quarter-life crisis.
Yeah.
John Mayer told us that.
Mm-hmm.
Quarter-life crisis.
Definitely quarter-life crisis. And then that starts her... She, can't even handle it. She gets drunk, goes back to the comedy club where he did the joke to get her Pyrex.
Gets her Pyrex dish back.
From the brisket that she made.
She's pretty inebriated at this point.
She's inebriated. She just walks up on stage.
Let me just tell you this story, guys.
Has a rant, and everyone loves it.
Takes her top off. And gets arrested.
Yeah, and that's how the pilot ends.
Yeah. So the rest of the show.
The rest of the show is her trying to deal with the separation and dealing with her family, Joel's family. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're both very Jewish.
Yes.
So it's hilarity ensues.
The cast is great.
Yeah, the cast
I think
is great.
Everybody was cast very well.
Yeah.
Tony Shalhoub plays her father.
Yes.
Maureen Hinkle plays her mother.
She's fantastic.
She's from 2.5 Men. She was...
she's been in everything, I feel like.
It seemed like there's a big age... To me, it seems like there's an age difference between the two, Tony Shalhoub and her.
I don't know. I feel like there's...
He seems older, but...
I think they look like the same age.
Yeah, they look about the same age. But the casting is great. They have a great dynamic in there, and then Kevin Pollak as the dad is great.
Joel's dad.
And the conflict between both families. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I couldn't help but notice, though, halfway through, Tony Shalhoub was just being Monk.
Yeah,
at some point.
pretty much.
When he'd go on rants, I'm like, you're just Monk with a mustache.
Basically. You're just a Jewish-style monk.
Yeah. So it was fun to watch. So, the rest of the series is her trying to navigate the waters of she's away from her husband, they're separated.
How does she do things? How does she get money?
Take care of her kids. And pursue this new comedian thing that... You know what she needs is a manager.
Who's a manager? I think that's where Alex Borstein comes in.
Yeah, Susie Meyerson. She runs the door and kind of runs the Gaslight Club.
Yeah,
so she sees her.
She picks the acts and stuff, and so when she sees her go on stage that first night, she's like, let's go.
This kid's got something. She's going places.
She is going places. So Susie, the entire time, tries to get Rachel, her name is Midge. Midge to, do more shows. Mm-hmm. And, there's parts where she goes up and she bombs. She doesn't, the whole journey is her trying to figure out if she wants to be a comedian, if she does want to be a comedian, what style is she, how does she do it, and Susie's there along the way to help her out.
Trying to guide her.
Mm-hmm. She wants to be a manager because she's over just managing the club. She wants, bigger and better things. Basically, it shows, everybody wants bigger and better things. And how do we...
Except Midge. Midge is really the one who doesn't.
I know. She's happy with her life.
I was happy with my life, yeah. Gets thrust into this world.
Right. And then, like, halfway through, Joel realizes he's an idiot. And then they kind of get back together. And then he hears, goes to this record shop to look up comedy records, and he hears Midge's voice coming from a record player talking about her life.
When she's complaining about her husband leaving.
Right. But she's like, it's like a comedy record. And, like, the people upstairs are, like, having a good time, but he's, like, freaking out. And so the very last episode is Midge. Well, there's, like, some stuff that happens. Basically, Midge makes fun of a really famous female comedian.
Mm-hmm. And Jane Lynch plays Sophie Lennon.
Yeah, she makes fun of Sophie Lennon.
Put that on your plate.
She, like, wears a fat suit on stage, and she's, like royalty at home. So, like, she goes off on her. And, like...
In public, kind of ruins her public image, for sure. And she gets blacklisted from the comedy scene.
And she goes by some stupid name called Amanda Gleason. So Amanda Gleason will never work in this town again. So she has to, like, fix her reputation. And so the last episode is Lenny Bruce helping her out to get back on stage at the comedy club, The Gaslight, which is where Susie works. She goes on stage and does her skit, and guess who's there watching, drunk as a skunk? Joel's there just watching her.
He gets a little upset.
He complains to Susie. And Susie's like, basically, like, rips him a new one.
Yeah, screw you. You're horrible. Get out of here. Let her do her own thing.
Yeah.
So he's drunk.
Someone
makes fun of Midge up on stage.
Right. She handles it very, very well.
Yeah. They walk out. These three guys walk out, and then Joel walks outside and beats the crap out of one of them.
Yeah, basically.
And that's it.
And then it ends with her going, "Thank you, I'm Mrs. Maisel." And you're like, okay, she kept her name. Because the entire time she was like, I'm not using my real name.
Mm-hmm. It's her finding her voice.
Right.
I think it's the theme of the whole show.
Oh.
Is finding your voice and finding yourself. Yeah, so she finally embraces it.
Right. So, side note, she knows Lenny Bruce because in the beginning, when she got arrested, she bailed out Lenny Bruce. Mm-hmm. And then the second episode, she gets arrested again. And then Lenny Bruce comes and bails her out. So they have, like, this little friendship thing going on.
He understands what it's like to be
outspoken.
Kept down by the man.
Yeah. So that's season 1 in a nutshell.
Yeah.
It's actually much better to watch it than hear us overview it.
Yeah.
So
it's
I don't think we do it as justice enough because there's like intricate things that happen.
That's a very brief overview, which this is one of the easiest shows to give an overview on.
It is, yeah.
There's just a lot more details throughout that aren't really that relevant to the story.
Right.
A lot goes on.
Yes.
But you can sum it up in a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty concisely. Mm-hmm. But we can break down the stuff that we like or dislike about it now.
Right. So what did you think about it, Adam?
I actually really enjoyed it. I wasn't sure if I was going to or not.
I mean, there's a reason why I put off watching it because I was like, I don't know. And then when we finally did it for the show, I was like, oh, I kind of really like it.
Yeah. I mean, I think the dialogue was great.
Yeah, the dialogue's great.
The dialogue was good. The casting was great.
Mm-hmm.
The story was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of comedy from the 50s and 60s.
Oh yeah.
So some of the people they were talking about I knew.
I mean, I like Mad Men a whole lot. So I like that whole
one thing that came
era.
from it was like, oh, I want to watch Mad Men again.
Yeah.
So that's period piece is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. There were some things I didn't like about it, but
I didn't like. There's a section in there where she's like trying to find her voice, and so she's like making jokes at like these parties for like younger, like kids just out of college, and so she's like having a grand old time just hanging out with them because she gets a job at a department store.
Yeah.
And works at the cosmetics department. So all the young girls work in the cosmetics department. So like she hangs out with them, and she's not doing shows.
And by young, they're just out of college. They're like 4 years younger than her.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, but like she's a mom and she has 2 kids.
Totally different scene.
None of them are married yet, so.
So you didn't like the?
No, I liked that part. I didn't like the part where she was like gonna be a comedy duo with the guy at the party. I was like, what is this? Like, what is this? Like, what are we doing here?
I don't think she was ever going to do it.
I know, but why are we introducing this here? I feel like the only reason why they were doing this is to reinstate that Susie is her manager and they're a team. Mm-hmm. But, like, I don't necessarily think they needed it. I think maybe it was a little bit of filler or something, but I didn't really like it.
I think the point was, and it was built on for the whole show, was nobody saw female comedians as you're just a comedian.
No, I
so
get
you're
it.
funny.
But I feel like it was just like the way they did it was just like they just threw it in there.
Yeah, he just met her. She met him at a party.
Yeah.
So the guy at the party is doing like improv with her,
Right.
essentially. These weird improv
It
scenes.
would have been better had she been trying to be a comedian and it wasn't working, and she kind of like would do skits on stage with him and they would do it, and like it would maybe introduce a possibility of them doing it together. But the fact that they were at a party where like no one could see them, I was like, I don't know.
And he's like, oh, I do work in TV sometimes.
Sometimes,
so
yeah, right.
It was that was kind of force-fed.
Yeah. They could have done it in a better way.
Yeah. I don't think it was a bad concept, but you're right. The way it was handled was kind of like, oh, and by the way, this.
Right.
Oh, okay, that works.
And I was like, okay. I liked the story overall. Like, I liked watching her become a comedian and, like, do the whole struggle of it and, like, try to become a single mom and, like, get her shit together. I really liked the growth of that character. But, like, some of the plot points was, like, very, like, romantic comedy. Like, oh, my husband's going to leave me because he met someone else. He's having a crisis. So that kicks off the whole thing. So you're like, okay. And then like halfway through the season, you're like, oh, they're going to get back together. But you know they're not going to get back together because Joel's going to find out she's a comedian and be so upset about it. And all those things happened. Like,
yeah, I can see what you're saying.
It was just very like, like the undertones were very basic, but the highlight of it was her trying to be a comedian.
Well, I think almost the opposite, because her real desire wasn't to be a comedian.
No,
like,
I know,
wanted to
but
have
that's why
the
I
other
liked
side
it.
of it. So it's kind of like that had to happen,
right?
Because then she's even more tempted to get back together,
right?
Essentially, because she didn't want this life to end. Even though she was always charismatic and humorous, and she her wedding toast was funny,
right?
So she kind of had that in her, but it seems like the comedy was, maybe I'll do it. See, that's what got me.
But that's what I liked about it. It was like she didn't want to do it in the first place, but she's like so good at it that Susie kind of has to like force her to do it because she sees something in her, And I really liked that whole journey.
I didn't like that. It seemed too easy for the journey. Seemed too easy for her.
Yeah, sometimes.
I mean, you got to have it concisely down to one season.
Right. I mean, there are like she bombs a couple times.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. But I mean, I get it. There's like it's in one season, like you can't watch her fail all the time. But there's a nice montage of her like getting better, like doing a joke and then recrafting it and then recrafting it again until she gets a bigger laugh.
I guess
so that part's really, really interesting to see.
And that came much later in the season, I think. I think if they would have done that a little earlier, it just seemed like it was.
Well, I mean, the whole party thing took her out of the thing completely.
It did, because I mean, she barely did anything with her kids.
Right.
So it's like, she's balancing family life, but really her parents are taking
her parents
care of the
are
kids.
watching it, yeah.
So they could have embraced the showing how long it took.
Right.
Which I never understood too, because the last episode, all of a sudden it's Christmas, and they didn't lead up to it at all, and then the second to last episode.
She's been working on it for like 2 months now. I also like. The jokes that she tells
weren't that funny.
Like but like all the comedians, like throughout the whole season, like they would tell jokes and it's like they're amusing, like ho ha.
Not laugh,
that's
slap
interesting,
your knee,
but it's not
laugh.
Like when I go to a comedy show and I actually watch it, and like tears rolling down my face. Like they weren't that funny.
People laughed differently back then.
The only one that I seriously like laughed hard at was when they go to the underground club to go check out like comedians who are like different and they see the guy with the ventriloquist dummy and he's like dead and he's like telling the jokes as like how it would go funny, like I was literally like, this is hilarious. But like the rest of the like jokes are just not.
And they go to the Copa Cabana. What is the
Copa?
They go to the Copa room and they see Red Skelton,
right,
who's a real comedian, and the delivery on those were horrible.
Yeah.
Because I've actually seen those bits. I have Red Skelton's from my hometown, so it's like they have a Red Skelton museum, all this kind of stuff. So I grew up watching his stuff. That guy was horrible. And actually, one of the jokes was his actual joke that he told.
Oh yeah.
But it didn't come across. None of it seemed that funny.
Right.
When they were doing it, and so maybe it's personality based.
Right.
But even Lenny Bruce stuff, some of the jokes were actually Lenny Bruce jokes.
He just wasn't.
And plus the time though too, like. If you weren't there at the time, you probably wouldn't,
No,
we're
but
not going to
like,
find it as funny.
no, but like if I were to go back and watch comedians from the 50s, I would probably laugh a little bit to their jokes.
Like
you know what I'm saying?
Like the Bob Newhart,
Right.
Abe Lincoln specialist or
Right.
PR person.
PR person.
Yeah.
Like to actually watch the comedians actually do it is probably better.
Yeah, I will say the same thing. They weren't really funny.
No,
they're not trying to make a comedy special, I guess. It's about the story of
I mean, I get it, but like they could still try a little bit.
Hire some comedy writers to write a few jokes.
Like really.
Yeah.
Like I laughed at Midge's jokes like maybe like a handful of times the entire season. The best part, the funniest part of the whole season is Susie. Susie is hilarious.
Yeah, she's the funniest.
Yeah, she makes that show funny. I mean, Alex Borstein is like hilarious to begin with, but
the funniest part for me is whenever she said she finally got a phone and she was going to get a person to answer the phone,
right?
And she just did Lois's voice.
Oh yeah,
it was just Lois from Family Guy.
She's like, hello.
Yeah, that was the best. I'm like, oh, that's a little nod to Lois.
No, she's the best part of. Like, she's the funniest part of the whole show.
Yeah, I would think
she's fantastic.
Well, and Tony Shalhoub's pretty funny.
Oh my God, Tony Shalhoub.
When he goes on his little rants, he's funny.
He is fantastic. Like, he is just like, I don't even know. Yeah, he's definitely like monk, but he's like Jewish monk. But like no OCD, just like everything else.
Just uptight.
Yeah.
He's just uptight. And yeah. I definitely laughed a few times out loud with his a couple of his rants.
Yeah, for sure. And I love the mom. Oh, Rose. She's just like, she's literally in her room with the lights off and her arm over her head. Like, she's just like sulking in the dark, and it's hilarious, and I love it. I love her character. I just love all the characters. They're great characters.
I honestly think that Midge and Joel are my least favorite characters.
I mean, I like them in different ways. Like I like that Joel is kind of likable. Like he's not like the asshole husband that just like leaves. Like he's a little likable, almost like a.
Like he was literally going through, like he didn't know what was going on.
Right.
He's like, oh, I fucked up.
Right. I mean, he's at a dead end job, and like he doesn't know. Like literally, he's having a crisis. He doesn't know what he wants to do. And like he takes it out on Midge because he doesn't know anyway how to do it. But I mean, I like Midge. I don't understand why like every time she's in a social situation she has to like be the center of attention. But yeah. I mean, maybe that's a comedian thing. I don't know.
A lot of comedians feel that way. They want to be
the center of attention. So
most of it's from bad childhoods, but I don't think she had that.
Right. I mean, they got money.
Yeah,
they're on the Upper West Side. They are good. But I really enjoyed the show overall. I really like it. I mean, I'll want to watch season 2.
I do like they spring. I mean, there were enough differences, like different guest stars in each episode, different things. Like Jane Lynch's episode was a very good episode. Yeah, to see that stark contrast of her character on stage and then her at the house. I think what I didn't like about Midge's character was that it seemed to come so easy for her to do the stand-up to begin with. Yeah. But then also the way she reacted to things, like she made everything worse. Right. Like she set up, they finally got this set up to go open for Jane Lynch's, the comedian there. And she goes and has this lunch with her. Right. She was like, look, you can't be a comedian and a woman. Right, that's not a thing. That doesn't work. And
you have to be ugly.
You have to be ugly or do something else. Right. And then she gets really upset, and then it goes up on stage and has this massive rant against her on stage. And I'm like, I know you don't have to agree with that. Right. But then you throw her under the bus. Right. And you've ruined everything else that you had. Right. What your manager had set up for you. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, but you also don't understand. She's supposed to be at least 20 years older than. Right. Like, for her, that was the only way to do things back then. Yeah, she should have been like, I see, okay. Like, I'm not going to do that. Right. I'm not going to now ruin your career. Right. Because you think this way. I think that's supposed to be like, that's supposed to like probably help her character develop in some way. I know. It's like that, and then whenever she had the jokes written for her and she just read them without, went up on stage. Right. And read these horrible jokes without looking over them first. Right. I'm like, what are you doing? It just seemed a little bit too much. I don't know. I was that part of the character. I'm like, okay, you're not helping yourself at all. No. But I think that goes with what's saying is that she's not a comedian. She never wanted to be a comedian. So she doesn't understand the way things are. Right. She's like learning. Like Susie sees a comedian in her, but
Midge is like, I'm just funny, you know? Like, she's not, like, like, comedian's not her goal. So I think it takes her a while to figure it out or something. I don't know. I think after she talks shit about Jane Lynch's character, I think maybe then she realizes, like, I gotta watch what I say.
Mm-hmm. People are listening.
People are listening.
Yeah. Which makes sense, though, because the first time she performed, she was just drunk and it was all impulsive.
Right, yeah.
So there's not like
literally the second time, too, she was just, like, aggravated and she needed to, like, spew some things.
Or she got high with Lenny Bruce and the band before.
Right.
So
she should just drink before she goes on stage.
I just think people were making bad decisions throughout the whole show.
Right.
Just calm down, people. Think about something and then evaluate
and then do it.
Yeah. I guess you wouldn't have a show then if you did that.
I mean, if you think about it, Susie's hilarious, but like she's probably the most rational one in the whole show.
Yeah, she is. She's the most down to earth of everybody.
And I love the fact that she like looks like a man, and like they reference it several times in there, like
a little boy or your boyfriend or whatever. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Like, I like that.
No, it's easier to pick out things that you dislike. I enjoyed the show a lot. I think it was good.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good concept. I'm interested to see where season 2 will go, since now she actually is
Mrs.
Maisel, and now she's going to be working on her comedy career, I assume.
Yes.
So, and then season 3, I gotta watch
Who knows?
2 before.
I know you gotta watch 2. Find out. So what would you say is your favorite episode?
Favorite episode? There's not one that really jumps out at me. Like, super favorite.
I think
I kind of like the one where she gets high with Lenny Bruce.
Yeah. I think, like, the pilot's really good.
Yeah.
Like, it's a really good, solid pilot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the first couple, the first 3 episodes are probably my favorite.
Yeah.
That's also with Lenny Bruce.
When she's first kind of,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I forgot to mention, too, like, the lawyer she gets. When she goes to court, she gets a lawyer.
Yeah.
Did you recognize him, the one who played the lawyer?
No. Mm-mm.
So, do you remember Doogie Howser?
Yeah, but I was like a kid.
Well, his best friend, Vinny.
That was the Doogie's
lawyer.
Best friend?
Yeah, that's Doogie's best friend.
Oh my god.
And he did a great job.
Yeah.
He was great as a lawyer.
Yeah,
that character was great. I was hoping to see more of him, but she didn't get arrested again.
I know.
But yeah, so he was Doogie Howser's. That should have gone on the knowledge at the beginning.
It should have.
But I saw him. I'm like, I know that guy.
Yeah.
Yep, that's him. But yeah, I will say that I think the first few episodes are probably.
Yeah, I think it starts off solid, and then maybe halfway it kind of like gets a little whatever, and then towards the end it picks back up again.
Yeah.
Which is, I feel like, the norm.
Yeah.
For like shows, like it's like solid in the beginning. It gets you hooked. You got to get them hooked in the beginning.
You got to have a lull.
Yeah.
And then you got to pick it back up.
And then you got to pick it back up again. So that leads us to bingeability.
Bingeability, I'm going to go a solid 4 with this one.
Ooh. Yeah, I would say 4.5. Like, I wanted to watch it.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I could stop here or there, but...
There weren't major, like some other shows, there weren't major cliffhangers.
No, there wasn't.
Can't wait, I've got to see what happens next. Mm-hmm. But you wanted to see what happened.
I mean, I think there was a couple episodes where you were like, oh, let me watch the next one. And then the next one would come and you're like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
But it was, I mean, it's a solid show. I really enjoyed it.
And the critics agree.
Critics love it, apparently.
I think it was definitely an interesting concept. The period piece was cool.
Yeah.
The whole concept of a female comedian starting out in that time
I love that.
was interesting, something that we haven't seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't, even though it had the tropes of a romantic comedy, it wasn't that traditional, like, oh, I've got to get the guy, da-da-da-da-da.
No, but we all saw it coming. Like, come on.
Yeah, but I think
we all saw that Joel and her were gonna get back together.
I think a lot of that happens in real life too with people.
Joel's gonna find out that she's a comedian, and he's not gonna have it.
Oh yeah, as soon as I saw the episode where they had the reel to reel.
Oh yeah.
And they were labeling it, I'm like, he's gonna listen to that.
Yep.
That's gonna come out.
Yep.
But also, okay, and one last pet peeve.
Last pet peeve.
How the hell do you sneak a reel to reel into a comedy club?
I don't know, unless someone's dedicated and like goes there and records the audio and like maybe kind of passes it off to someone.
I mean, those things were not small back then.
Like maybe it was
not a micro recorder.
Maybe like they had someone just record all the sets or something.
You think
at the Gaslight, and then maybe someone's snuck it to a friend. Like recorded it off. Like
maybe.
I mean, they don't really specify.
I think that was a little overly
happened.
Convenient because they forget how big technology was back then.
Right.
That would have been like larger than a briefcase size.
Right.
Recording device.
Right.
That's just a nerd and me like that. I don't see how that could have happened.
I don't know.
Yeah. Other than that, but yeah, it was predictable. Like, oh yeah, they're gonna get together.
Right.
Then something's gonna break them apart.
Right.
And then we'll see what happens in season 2.
That leads us to Snack Attack. What were you eating while binging The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel?
I was eating the marvelous Disney goldfish cracker.
Disney goldfish crackers. Is that better than regular goldfish
They just have little Mickey heads in them that are red for some reason.
Oh, okay.
I guess black Mickey heads would not be appetizing next to
not.
goldfish.
Maybe.
But
maybe it's easier for the color dye if they choose red.
It. Yeah. For some reason, we have 8 bags of those at home. So that was my go-to snack for this one.
Oh, goodness. Well, if you want to do a Marvelous Mrs. Maisel snack party at your showing, I have some eclectic Jewish snacks for you to eat.
Okay.
So the first one is my favorite, latkes. That
good.
Fried potato pancake with sour cream and applesauce. This is very good.
Those are really good.
We
call them potato cakes.
Potato cakes.
Because I'm not Jewish.
I'm not Jewish also. I say the proper latkes. I got to figure out how to make them at home. Snack number 2, classic bagel and schmear.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're, if you don't feel like actually eating a gigantic bagel, you could go with some bagel chips and maybe dip them in some schmear.
There you go.
You could do that.
A little smoked salmon on there.
Throw some smoked salmon. Get some capers.
Yeah.
Make a little dip out of it. Third, Knish, which I've never had at Knish, but they sound very appetizing. They're a baked or fried dough stuffed with potato, meat, or cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Anything baked or fried with cheese in it, I'm down.
It's pretty good.
So I got to find me a Knish to eat.
When I was your age, Knishes cost a nickel.
Fourth, your standard go-to, pastrami on rye.
Oh, that's really good.
Slap a sandwich together, watch you some Miss Maisel jokes. You could even do like little tiny sandwiches for a party. Little tiny pastrami.
And somebody
on
could
rice.
break into improv in the middle of it.
Yeah. Just go off. And then lastly, there's this pastry that I don't know how to pronounce. I'm going to try to pronounce it correctly, but I've seen it at my local Jewish deli, the rugelach.
I don't know. I don't think that was correct.
Rugelach. Yeah, that's right. Rugelach. It's like it looks like a little crescent roll.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a sweet pastry, similar to like a croissant.
Oh.
And I think the norm is there's chocolate in it.
Oh.
Because that's what they look like, and I need to get some.
I need to try some. You should have brought some in today.
I should have.
Yeah.
Just throw a bag of those in there, munch on them while you're watching.
I thought you were going to go the 50s route.
What?
And go for like 50 snacks.
Oh.
Like you gotta
I switched it up on you.
You got to have a Jell-O mold. You got to have some sort of fruit salad with mayonnaise in it and nuts.
Some deviled eggs.
Some deviled eggs. And canned ham.
Oh, and canned ham.
Perfect.
Some Spam.
Yeah.
Throw that on there.
That's not an Upper West Side 50s party. That's like a Middle America 50s
Midwest.
Party. Yeah.
A casserole somewhere.
Casserole, yeah.
Tuna noodle casserole.
Tuna noodle casserole.
Isn't a kugel technically a Jewish casserole?
Yeah.
You
think
can
it
do
is.
that.
There you
Throw
go.
that in there. So those are your Jewish snacks for a Marvelous Mrs. Maisel party. Or if you just want to be a single party.
Yeah.
And have your own little Jewish party.
It's a sad party. Just all that food and yourself.
I mean, I could eat all that food by myself.
Okay, so I've got a question for you.
Ooh.
If you're not busy eating all that food by yourself.
I am done eating all that food.
So Alex Borstein plays the manager in this TV show.
Right.
She also does the voice of Lois Griffin.
Correct.
In Family Guy. If you could choose one cartoon character to be your manager in life and just help you get things done,
okay,
who would you choose?
I was
going to say just from Family Guy.
Oh.
But that may be too easy. Or we could go, it might be too hard to go any cartoon character.
Well, this is your question.
I'm going to stick with any cartoon character.
Any
cartoon character.
Okay.
Because if it was Family Guy, it would just have to be Brian.
Right.
He'd be the most logical choice.
Right. I would think I would pick Harvey Birdman.
Okay.
Because not only would he be a good manager, He'd also be a great lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Harvey Birdman, attorney at law.
And Amanda's manager.
And my manager.
He'd make sure that you get the jobs that you need.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that sounds fantastic. What would yours be?
Well, if it's any cartoon character, I would choose the genie from Aladdin.
Oh, because you can have wishes.
I'd be able to talk to Robin Williams.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to do that?
I guess, yeah.
Anybody else? I don't know. Bugs Bunny would be too. He would cause too much trouble. He just would get bored and he'd start blowing stuff up.
Right. I think if I was going to pick Family Guy, I think I would pick Meg.
Giggity giggity.
No. Meg would be good because, she has no life ambition. So for her, manager would be like
a big deal.
A big deal.
Okay.
So she would probably want to do it right. So I would go with Meg.
All right. I'd still go with Brian. He seems the most put together.
Brian.
There we go. Not quite a hard one today, but just
no, but it's a good one.
A fun one.
Yay. So, Adam, what are we binging next week to finish off our Women's Month?
To finish off, we're doing Big Little Lies.
Ooh, there's a lot of ladies in that one.
And what season is it on now?
It's going to have season 2 soon.
Soon.
Yes. Because I think it was supposed to be a standoff, but they liked it so much.
Like it's so nice.
A second season.
They made it twice. So we're going to binge the first season.
Yes.
Of that.
So I'm excited. I hear good things. We'll check it out. There's lots of ladies in that one.
Are we ever going to pick shows that we hear bad things about?
Yes, we should. We should pick some bad shows.
Go to Rotten Tomatoes and pick the worst shows.
Yes.
And watch those.
Yes. We will definitely have
because
to do
so
that.
far, there's not been one that I'm like, you know what? Yeah.
Well, Punisher was a little disappointing, but...
Who knows? Maybe I'll feel that way about Big Little Lies.
You may hate it.
Maybe.
Maybe like, what are these women talking about? Thank you guys for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and share. If you want to leave us a comment, we are thinking about leaving April open if you guys want to watch some shows, maybe. If not, we might do superheroes. If you like that idea, you can comment too.
That's a super idea.
Leave us any comment. Why Adam's voice is so low sometimes.
Sometimes it gets real low.
Why Amanda's so loud at moments. Let us know how we're doing.
Drop us a comment.
We'll get back to you. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you bingers next week.
Bye.